Councilmember Matavetsky,
Present.
Councilmember Rathmel,
Present.
Council President Dundon.
Present.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting?
The motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, or all in favor to approve the minutes? Aye. Reports from committees and appointments. I'll start with Councilmember Middleton.
Oh, sure. Thank you, President Dundon. Last night, we had a very successful town hall regarding the renaming of Columbus Park. It was a very great discussion. People spoke about their differences, what it meant to them about the change, if we changed it. Excuse me, and if we changed it. But one of the great things that came out of that meeting was community. Everyone really cares about the community, and we know this. So I guess we'll talk again regarding it and go from there for the next steps. But it was just a very, very interesting conversation. I'm grateful that all of my colleagues showed up yesterday to support me at the meeting. And I really hope that people in the city of Binghamton come out to more of our town halls and come out more to our meetings. Thank you, President Dundon. Oh, yeah, sure. So next, I'd like to accept the resignation of Eileen Hughes. She represents me on CDAC in the second district, and she is going to be resigning. And I'm going to be I'm going to be nominating a new person, and her name is Layla Hernandez. Layla works she's actually a very awesome person, well known in the community, and she works along with Hussein Adams at the ACA. I think she'd be great to represent Binghamton and just give a really good representation as far as her experience at ACA. That would definitely help with the CDAC. So I'd like to nominate Layla Hernandez.
All right. Councilmember Matavetsky, did you have traffic board?
Yes, so there is a traffic board meeting tomorrow right here in council chambers at 9:15 a.m. The agenda, we have Murray/Riverside, a request for a traffic signal/stop. We have Gate Street/Conklin Ave, request for no parking here to corner. 15 Amherst, Arthur Street. 15 Arthur Street, request for a handicap parking sign. State Street, Cary Street, request for stop sign. 174 Court Street, request for no parking. 3 Louisa Street, request for a loading zone. 37, I think that's supposed to say North Street, request for a curb cut, and 23 Henry Street, request for a curbs cut. So if any of those are in your districts, please let me know if you have any thoughts or feelings about that before tomorrow morning at 9:15. I also want to remind the public that there is public comment at traffic board. Additionally, if you want to get on the agenda, you need to fill out the traffic board form more than a week in advance. The meetings are monthly.
Does anyone else have any committees they'd like to
So I
report on?
wanted to ask our attorney if where we're at with notifications relating to traffic board for council to review.
So I think things are set up where they should be coming directly to council after that meeting. And then I believe there was the full list that was provided previously.
Great, thank you.
The planning committee is meeting tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the work session room. It will be streamed and available for view, but folks who would like to attend are certainly welcome. We will be covering for the second time the proactive code rental housing inspection program. We've gotten a lot of internal feedback and external feedback from community members, property owners, tenants related to the legislation as it was initially introduced. We also received a good bit of feedback from the town hall that was held. So tomorrow's planning committee meeting will be to review that feedback, ensure that we're incorporating as much as we can into the final legislation, and amending, revising aspects of the legislation as written, and then discussing a date and time for a second town hall to make sure we're continuing to allow that to be as much of a community-driven process as possible.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move on. We have no public hearings to set. We do not have a public hearing tonight, so we'll move on to public comment. Residents wishing to submit public comment may do so electronically by emailing their comments prior to 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting to clerk@cityofbinghamton.gov or in person during the meeting. Anybody who'd like to speak during public comment, please come on down now. Please state your name and if you live or work in the city of Binghamton.
Mike Durvey. I live in Binghamton, retired from Binghamton. I know it's budget hearing time, so this is one thing I want to bring up before you guys have your budget hearings. I want to bring up Ely Park Golf Course. So first of all, I want to say there's no complaints. City's put the money into it. The management company that's running it, the course is beautiful. You're bringing in golfers, the leagues are full, weekends are full with tournaments, and all these tournaments are reapplying to be back next year. What I'm looking at is the taxpayers that pay the money to support the golf course. So, and I'm just gonna throw rough numbers out. My membership for a senior, say, is $800. Well, if I lived in Great Bend, my membership to be an Ely Park member is $800. So what is the city? I mean, you're giving a city employee $425. But what about the taxpayers and the residents of the city of Binghamton who support the golf course with their tax dollars? I'm not looking for a huge break like you're giving the city employee, even if it's $900 for a non-resident, senior membership. If it's a city person, at least you could say you're trying to help the residents of the city of Binghamton who support the golf course with their tax dollars. So that's just a little pet peeve. I brought it up before and was shot down. You guys set the rates. I know the golf course rates are going up. Not asking for weekly or daily rates, just the membership fees, which might cost, if you say it's 50 members. So say we drop $200 at 10,000, but you pick up maybe 20 new members that are city residents who say, hey, they're giving us a break. I'm not joining Enwell Greens next year. I'm going to join Ely Park instead because they're supporting the residents. So that was my first. So I'd like to just look at it when you do your budgets, just to give us a little break. The second one is to Councilwoman Rathbell. I love your idea of using CDBG funds and HUD funds to set up this pot of money for low income, moderate income rental property. But what about the seniors that are low income? Can you put like an or in there when you bring it back to committee that says, or say you have a couple living in the same house that was built in the 1930s and they pay taxes, they pay the electric and gas, they pay their water bills and everything. They don't have the money to fix their porch or something. So can you have an or in there, or elderly couple on Social Security, senior citizen that, low income or moderate income resident, and have that in there so they can draw from that pool of money also. So that was just an idea I wanted to give you because I know you took it back to committee from your meeting. So that's just a suggestion. So whether it's goes or not, I'm just throwing it out there for the older people in the city of Binghamton, which I am one of them. So that's all I have. I thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Mike. Anyone else would like to come down and speak during public comment? Seeing nobody, do we have any public comments that were emailed in?
From Lorraine Rogers, resident of the City of Binghamton. Loading, just a sec, guys. Mhm. To members of Binghamton City Council, I have been a resident of the City of Binghamton since 1980. I am a proud person of Italian ancestry. Both my paternal and maternal grandfathers immigrated to the United States of America from Italy around 1917. Being of Italian American heritage has always been important to me. My parents were very hardworking people and instilled the values of a strong work ethic and service to others and my sister and me. We have tried to carry our grandparents' and parents' values with us throughout our lives. I was taught respect for all people and cultures. While I think it is important to recognize the important contributions of African American people in this community, I object to the renaming of Columbus Park in Binghamton because it erases the history of Italian American people who have resided in the adjacent neighborhood. Perhaps something else can be named to honor the history of African American people in Binghamton. The City of Binghamton honors Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with the Memorial Promenade and statue along the Shenango River downtown. In addition, the downtown Binghamton Freedom Trail has a number of plaques that honor civil rights activists such as Harriet Tubman, Fannie Lou Hamer, Rosa Parks, Daisy Bates, and Frederick Douglass, to name a few. These people have contributed immensely to civil rights reforms. Local heroes can also be added to these memorials. I hear a lot about Columbus being a bad person who committed crimes. I do not know of the historical accuracies of these claims. It is my opinion that the accomplishments of Italian explorers such as Christopher Columbus, Amerigo Vespucci, America is named after this explorer, and John Cabot, Giovanni Caboto, who is Italian and anglicized his name when he sailed under the British flag, are important and should be recognized for the contributions they have made to the world. Isn't it amazing that they sailed across the ocean in the 1400s and 1500s? If the park is renamed, please consider a name that reflects the history and struggles of all people who resided in that neighborhood. African Americans, Jewish, Irish, Italians, Polish, Germans, Hispanic, Latinos, Haitians, Asians, etc. And should we not honor the indigenous Native Americans as well? I'm suggesting names such as Freedom Park, Unity Park, or Liberty Park to express ideals that everyone can accept. These names reflect the freedom so valiantly sought by the people of the Underground Railroad that passed through this area. It also addresses the struggles faced by other ethnic groups leaving their countries of origin and coming here for more freedom and opportunities. Other considerations are Peace Park, Two Rivers Park, and Susquehanna Park. In addition, it seems as though the renaming of the rec center is a great opportunity to honor a local hero who has been a positive influence and role model for young people. Please consider renaming the recreation center, formerly the St. Mary's Recreation Center. I heard Reverend Wilson say that this initiative would be a small win and that this is the beginning of something else. What is the future agenda, and should there be transparency? Also, the survey should be more easily accessible and available to all. As an elected official, it is my hope that you will take into consideration the perspectives of all constituents, not just the perspectives of some or your own personal agendas. It was sounding as if renaming the park was already decided by council without the input of other perspectives. Please be representative of the people of the city in a way that is respectful of all cultures and heritages. To quote Frederick Douglass, abolitionist and reformer, "The life of a nation is secure only while the nation is honest, truthful, and virtuous."
So that'll come to a close to our public comment. We do not have a mayoral veto to review or second read legislation, so we're moving on to first read legislation. This is introductory ordinance O25-55, considered in finance, and I'll hand it over to Councilmember Kavanaugh.
A motion to approve O25-55, an ordinance to amend the 2025 BJ's, the sewage treatment plant budget to increase the equipment line for pump repair.
Well, second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion, please.
We went over this work session. We had pretty serious pump failure. We need to have backup in place, and this is the money to do it. We also had some discussion about some tangentially to this, the providing upgrades to a couple of the pumps that were not included in the capital projects. We're addressing in a forthcoming RL, hopefully from the sewage treatment plant. So to keep on top of some of these issues.
Anyone else? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Council President Dundon.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Next is introductory ordinance 025-56, considered in finance, and I'll hand it back to Councilmember Kavanaugh.
Okay. I'd like to motion to approve 02556, an ordinance to amend 2025 general fund budget for firefighting equipment.
The motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion, please.
Who's doing the amendments?
Just for context, this is a general fund transfer request for the purchase of firefighter equipment. It follows council's rejection during our last business meeting of the mayor's request in June to use community development block grant funding to cover the expenses represented. I think as I mentioned on Monday, for those who voted or spoke against accessing unspent CDBG dollars, our reasoning was that the turnout gear is a critical need, but CDBG is not the appropriate source.
I guess I'll say I support getting this equipment. I supported it with the other funds, and I'll support it with this funds. I just like to get the fire department what they need.
Absolutely.
So from my understanding, the mayor mentioned today how he was the only one authorized to move anything out of the general fund. But from what I've seen, the mayor was authorized to know that there was CDBG money that sat since 2019. No one was aware of. The mayor's also authorized to use the firm that we pay $60,000 a year to write grants. And the mayor was authorized to use this set of funding to also get the firefighters their equipment. So the only thing that I've seen him authorize was the mismanagement of how he was going to use the funding. And to me, the firefighters need this. And I'm a pro-union guy. I've always been a pro-union guy. But it seems like this was more meant to grandstand for just the press versus anything else. I mean, it was a 3-3 tie, and yet there's a press conference that the council voted it down when we were actually split 50-50, which is unfair to the ones who did vote for it and did stand with the firefighters, to where you classified, where I had residents call and ask me since when I was anti-union, which really bothers me, seeing I have a union card in my pocket. So right now I'm going to say I'm going to vote yes to support this. I believe most members here will. And if this doesn't go through the Board of E&A tomorrow, then I'd like to ask the mayor where he stands. Oh, it's not. Bob, you told me it was tomorrow. Oh, gotcha. That's my fault. So it'd be next Wednesday. If it doesn't go through E&A next Wednesday, then I would ask the mayor from my union brothers, the firefighters, why he's holding this up now when this is all set to be done and get you guys your turnout gear. That's all I have to say.
I think for those watching, council understands the conversation and the discussion that's being presented. For those watching and for context, Mayor Cram indicated opposition earlier today to council, stating that he alone has sole authority to make this type of budget amendment. We had identified the 6 transfers from the general fund that had been approved by council and signed off by the mayor in discussion on Monday. And in sharing that determination with council, Mayor Cram is insisting again that the sole authority to move this money lies with his office. And being that the city comptroller reported over $13 million in the general fund balance to New York State last year, it remains the position of certainly myself, and I believe many of my colleagues on council, that this is the most appropriate funding source for this budget need. And if I would agree with Council President Dundon. If Mayor Cram wants to insist that he alone has the authority to move this funding, then we would welcome a resolution from him in order to do so. I think, however, and again, throughout this entire process, the mayor has actively and intentionally constrained the city from making the most responsible financial decision. He has used department heads to push his preferences, not because he ever cared whether the fire department actually got the money it needs, but because he wanted to make sure that he's the one that gets to host the press conference. That is very clear to me, and I think it's very clear to many of us, as well as many members of the community who have watched this drag on, who watched him host a press conference to report our refusal when we committed in our rejection 2 weeks ago to finding and procuring this funding. The statutory amendment, and this I think maybe is kind of where we get to the next step of possibilities here. So essentially my understanding of the statute that Mayor Cram is claiming is that council can authorize the movement of these funds, this revenue increase, but it only goes into effect if it's approved by the comptroller. And if that is the case, then I think we have the opportunity to amend this bill to reflect that the council is directing this decision, which would then give the comptroller the opportunity to approve that authorization.
So, are you, did you finish? I'm sorry, were you done?
I'm done for now,
Okay,
yes.
all right, yeah.
Thank you.
So again, to give some, thank you for that, Councilman Rathnell. To give some context to the process, past process and from what we see in the legislative database, movement of funds from fund balance into the budget generally comes from the administration identifying a need, then it flows through the legislative pipeline, generally to E&A, and then or back and forth with comptroller for sort of stamp of approval that these funds are available, the transfer is legal, it's not putting the city in financial jeopardy, blah, 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 and then it gets to us. So the public is used to seeing city council act at the end of that process, approving that process, and giving that final authorization. City council, I think our as a body, the city council has been very open to citizen RLs certainly, and city council members drafting and proposing a wider variety of legislation than has been recent precedent, at least in the city. And so we've been doing that. So we've been kind of remaking those processes and those gears as we go along. So now we are asking for and doing our step of that tapping into fund balance process first, because this body, there was again, an identified need with the firefighting equipment that we all seem to agree on in the administration, in the bureaucracy, and in this council chamber. And it's the funding mechanism that has been at issue. So this resolution is city council saying, hey, this is our preferred funding mechanism. Assuming we vote for this, and putting it back into the other parts of that approval process. So it's kind of reversing the flow, which is unusual, but I don't think is outside of our prerogative. However, the legislation as it was written, as it was drafted and put up, kind of followed that normal, is written as if it follows that normal process, and we kind of need to reverse it. So I would like to amend the text of the RL to the following. So striking the two whereas paragraphs, and then now striking the two whereas paragraphs and replacing it with the following language. Whereas the Council of the City of Binghamton have recommended the 2025 general fund budget be amended to allow for the purchase of additional turnout gear at the fire department, and whereas the budget transfer is subject to approval by the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, now therefore the Council of the City of Binghamton duly convened in regular session does hereby ordain as follows, and then it continues with the appropriate budget lines.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second on the amendment. Any questions or discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call? And we are voting on just the amendment at this time.
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Council President Dundon.
Aye.
Thank you. That is 7-0.
Thank you. So I would personally like to reiterate that I was okay with and voted for, as two other members of the council did, with the original proposed funding mechanism. I think this would have been an allowable use of CDBG money. Voted for it. Would vote again for it. This is an alternative mechanism that is getting us to the same needed conclusion, which is the necessary turnout gear for our firefighters. I would also be open to using this mechanism at this time to fund the needed replacement medic fly cars, which are also emerging as a critical need in the fire department, rather than waiting through the budget process and waiting until next year till they can access that funding. So I would be open to that resolution. As I think Council President Dundon said, the object is to get to that funding, and through whichever mechanism is going to get us there. So,
Anyone else?
I agree.
All right, hearing none, Madam Clerk, can we do a roll call?
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
aye.
Councilmember Middleton,
Aye.
Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Council President Dundon.
Always proud to stand with my union brothers. Aye.
Thank you. So that's 7-0.
Moving on to introductory resolution R25-57, considered in municipal and public affairs, and I'll hand it over to Councilmember Middleton.
Thank you, President Dundon. I'd like to make a motion for introductory resolution 25-57, a resolution to accept a grant from the Broome County, from Broome County for NYS swims.
We have a motion. Do we have a
Second.
second? Motion and a second. Discussion, please.
Thank you. So this is money that came from the county. It was $8,000 to help with lifeguard retention and recruitment. Jake, who is leaving Parks and Recs, thank you for your service, Jake Briga. Very instrumental with Park and Rec, but he stated that this did work and it did help out with lifeguard retention and recruitment. And I asked him if he knew if we were going to receive it again, and he's not sure, but I do think that is a great program. And if we could receive that again, that'd be very great for us to obtain lifeguards.
Anyone else? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, could we do a roll call?
Councilmember Rathmel,
Aye.
Councilmember Matavetsky,
Aye.
Councilmember Hotchkiss,
Aye.
Councilmember Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Middleton, Councilmember Murray,
Aye.
Council President Dundon.
Aye.
Thank you. That's 7-0.
We'll move on to communications from council. I will start this in numerical order, and I will begin with Councilmember Murray.
President Dundon, just a reminder to First Ward residents that the next Community Neighborhood Watch meeting will be October 14th at the First Ward Senior Center, 6 p.m. Also encouraging folks to sign up for updates and notification regarding the Clinton Street DRI project. You can do that at the website is clintonstreetdri.org. There is on that homepage an opportunity to sign up for notifications by providing your email address and some contact information so that you can receive updates on the project status and any upcoming additional public events. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Middleton.
Thank you, President Dundon. I just wanted to read a quote. September is Hunger Awareness Month. As many as everyone knows, I work with food insecurity every day. I just wanted to read a quote, and it's from Gandhi. It says, "There's enough on this planet for everyone's needs, but not enough for everyone's greed." And to me, that quote speaks a lot to me. Looking at the numbers of what's going to happen in the future when it comes to people being cut from SNAP benefits. The new study shows about $190 being cut from a family. And to me, that's tremendous and a lot. It's going to definitely change how a person may eat or a family may eat. I'm honestly worried about the future and what will happen. But, you know, we're going to try to kind of do whatever we can to kind of help with that. Not sure if it's going to be enough, but I just want everyone to look out on that because it leads to so many things. People being hungry, crimes might be committed because there's just so many aspects of just hunger and different things. I really hope that it doesn't lead to that, but I just want everyone to be on the lookout for it because there have been cuts and they're starting now from I think in July in Congress when they voted on that bill, the cuts are starting now. So just wanted to make everyone aware of that with Hunger Month. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Kavanaugh. Okay. Councilmember Hotchkiss.
Yeah. So I guess I just want to state that I feel pretty honored to be able to be on council. Just in the town hall last night about Columbus Park really kind of like sent that home for me because there's so many different people that we have the opportunity to meet and hear their perspectives and experiences and like just about their lives. And it's just like I just think it's an incredible experience to be here and hear from all those people and be able to kind of facilitate those conversations in the community. But that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Matavetsky.
All right. Discovery Center will be closed September 11th and 12th for the United Way Day of Caring. Southside Neighborhood Assembly will be meeting September 16th at 7 p.m. at MacArthur. We have Chalk the Walk 2025, September 17th from 3 to 5:30 p.m. at Saratoga Community Center. Chalk will be provided. Chalk the Walk, Have the Talk is an annual campaign to reduce mental health stigma, spread positivity, and come together as a community to encourage each other to have conversations about mental health. Water shutoffs in Southside took place on September 8th. I flyered most of the buildings in my district that were like larger tenant buildings, but if your water was shut off and you're a tenant in the South Side in District 5, please reach out to me and I'll make sure I can get you a copy of the flyer that I dropped at buildings that were more obvious apartments. Tomorrow is 9/11. Last year we had our meeting on 9/11 as a Binghamton alum. Every year, always make sure to say the name Paul Battaglia. He was a recent SOM graduate from Binghamton University, and he was the general manager of the college radio station, which I joined. So thinking of Paul and everyone else that passed on 9/11. Thank you to the heroes as well. And that's what I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rathma.
Thank you. So neighbors on South Side East are holding a block party this Saturday, the 13th, starting at 1. I don't think we know when it'll end. At Webster Street Park, off of Webster and Jackson. It is not a city council sponsored event. It's just neighbors getting together for hot dogs, hamburgers, and some good times. But Southside Easters, you're welcome to come out, and please do. In light of Hunger Action Month, I want to remind Southsiders that Loaves and Fishes Food Pantry is open every Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 1 p.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I did ask staff about any donation needs. They reported currently being in great shape as far as their pantry stock, so didn't indicate a present donation need. New Beginnings Apostolic Church, however, on Vestal, has a newer food pantry that will be open this Saturday, the 13th, as well as the 27th from noon to 2. And they are welcoming any and all food pantry stock and canned good items.
And I don't have anything to communicate, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?